President Bounds had talked about having somebody in 30 days. I said, that's aggressive, and it just popped out of my mouth like most things do. And Ronnie says, yes, that's aggressive, but we're going to stay aggressive in this search. And today he said it'll be 4 weeks, on Friday or whatever he's going to show up. And to do it in 30 days is remarkable. Those guys, Turnkey was really good, obviously, and you can see. I don't know how much weight Ronnie's lost, but you can see he's been working a lot on this. And so to have this in place, I think, is good, because the longer you feel it draws on, the more everybody gets a little concerned. And so to have this and now kind of take that next phase of the whole process and get to know Bill and move forward. We'll start playing games here in a heartbeat and just move forward and get to know him and introduce him to our philosophical ideas and our vision for Husker hoops.
Well, I think that everybody wants the program to succeed. The old guys who want to see be like we had it. We want our young kids to see that everything's possible here. And the last since 1999 we haven't won a championship, conference championship. So a lot of things that we went through, they haven't. And so we just want to see a little more success on the football team and see our young people really catch hold of being a Nebraskan and football.
All right, breaking news, some instant reaction, the hiring of Bill Moos, the athletic director, 66 years old, leaving Washington State to take over here at the University of Nebraska. Sean, what's your immediate reaction?
Well, I think when you look at Moos, he's a veteran. He brings a lot of experience. He's been there, done that multiple times as far as coaching hires on all sports, and he's been in the major conference realm of things since the mid-'90s. So I think the experience he brings is what Nebraska was looking for, number one. And then he was a fit culturally. He's a guy that he's going to sit down and talk to the locals and be one of the locals, but also be able to deal with your highest level boosters. And it's a Barry Alvarez quality. It's a Bob Devaney quality. I think that a place like Nebraska really wants to have in their athletic director.
Yeah, his motto, he says, was honor the past, live the present, and create the future. He's 66 years old, and leaving his alma mater, does that make you scratch your head a little bit?
A little bit, but I think he struck me as a guy today that wanted one more big swing at it where he could have a true Big Ten budget. And, he kind of threw a little water on the thought that he had endless money to work with over his time at Oregon, because when he was there starting in the mid-'90s, that money that you see there now was not there. I mean, that money kind of started to get more and more as he left Oregon. So I think when he looks at this opportunity, the amount of resources Nebraska is going to have going forward as a fully fledged member now of the Big Ten Conference, they're going to be able to accomplish really what any athletic director would ever want to do. And he's got the experience. He knows how to do these things. And to have the things now to make it happen, I'm sure that intrigued him.
All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Mike Riley, he said, Bill Moos said he was not at the game Saturday night, but did watch. He says that Mike Riley, and I quote, he's my football coach and I'm going to support him. Your reaction to that?
Well, I mean, I think that's really all he could say right now at this time. He couldn't say, you know what, and by the way, we're going to make this a dual press conference and we're going to make a move on that. I mean, so he came out and said exactly what a guy that has his type of experience is going to say. Hey, he's my coach. I got 5 games now to look at things and evaluate things, and he knows Mike Riley. He's got a long familiarity with the Pacific Northwest. He probably knows Danny Langsdorf. He knows some of these guys already on this staff. So it will be interesting to see that relationship. Mike Riley will be able to have a relationship with anybody, as we know. But it's about winning. And he made it pretty clear when he talked about Nebraska that I want them to go back to being a team on the schedule where people fear them, where they're like, oh, wow, that's going to be a tough game. You get the sense, obviously, that's not the case right now. So if they don't get things moved here quick, I think we all know how these things can play out.
How important was the timing of this announcement? Less than 24 hours and one of the worst home losses in football history, one of the worst losses in Nebraska football history. I think that's pretty telling as well. And how important is it to have a steadying hand through all this? It's
almost like they knew, they had a pretty good idea. Obviously, this Ohio State game was not very favorable for Nebraska. So what do? You reset the news cycle on Sunday. You don't allow things to get to Monday where talk radio is dominated about just how bad that game was. Instead, now Monday morning when talk radio hits at 6 a.m. and whatever, you go to work, you read the papers, it's all about this new direction as Nebraska moves forward. So I think it was a smart move by Hank Bounds and by Ronnie Green with this approach. And you look at all the athletic director jobs that are continuing to open because of this Adidas fallout and other things that could be happening. They knew they needed to move quick on this, and they got their guy and said, let's get this done with on the bye week and kind of reset things going forward.
Well, historic day. Bill Moos, 66 years old, the new athletic director at the University of Nebraska here in Lincoln.